please, the floor is yours. Well, all of you can ask questions. We're trying to answer all of them. And the dog agency, I have a similar question, and I wanted to start it with the fact that in your federal address, you said that we not equal the Turkish people to the part of the Turkish elite, which is directly responsible for the deaths of our military in Syria. However, at the grassroots level, there's a different impression. There are lots of claims from students to the Turkish embassy in Moscow because they were retired and laid off by businessmen who threatened them with being deported. How are we to fight that? The second question is about Syria and the position regarding the fate of the Syrian president. It is well known Russia insists that it is up to the Syrian people to decide, whereas the United States and its allies believe that he has no political future. Have you discussed this question with John Kerry when he visited you in Moscow, and will this question be raised in New York? And then your question, please. Fuat Safarov, Turkish Information Agency, Ceyhan. The destruction of relations between Russia and Turkey is so swift, and it will not benefit any of the countries. It will be of huge damage for both countries. What is your position? Is there any third stakeholder in this scenario? And the second question, the Islamic anti-ISIL association has been established recently, but there is a NATO coalition, there is a Russian coalition, so there's going to be 3 coalitions against ISIL. Is it that difficult to destroy this evil? Maybe there are some other plans behind that. Maybe there is a hidden agenda, and maybe it's not the ISIL that is the problem. Well, the answer to the Syrian issue would be the latest one. Let me start with the conflict that has emerged. Well, we believe that the actions of the Turkish authorities against our aircraft that was downed, this is a hostile act rather than a friendly one. Our military aircraft was downed. People were killed. What was particularly outrageous is that had it been an accident, as we later heard from the Turkish authorities, because for them, they keep saying they didn't know that it was the Russian aircraft. So what would you do in these circumstances? People died. Immediately, people should contact these people and present their apologies. Instead of that, they went to the NATO, insisting that they're being bullied. They started covering itself up by NATO. And then it turned out that NATO had nothing to do with that as well. But the most important I want you to understand, I want everyone to hear that in Turkey, in Russia, everywhere. In addition to the fact that actually a tragedy occurred and people were killed, the thing that outraged us most is that we did not renounce cooperation. When I was in Antalya, I mentioned this issue, and the Turkish colleagues raised a very sensitive issue, asked for support. I'm not going to go into details right now, because that's not how I do actual business. But please, trust me, very sensitive issues, sensitive for Turkey, were raised, which are not fitting the frames of the international law. I'm referring to the decisions that were offered for Turkey. And we said, yes, we understand everything and we are ready to help you. So, regarding so-called Turkmens, I haven't heard of them. Well, I know that there are Turkmens in Turkmenistan. No one told us anything about that. But at the same time, we showed them that we were ready to cooperate on a very sensitive issues for Turkey. Wasn't it that hard to use existing cooperation channels, use military channels that were established, saying that, yes, we mentioned some parts of the border which we haven't discussed before, but there are some other parts that shouldn't be hit by us. No one told us anything. No one warned us in ahead. Bearing in mind that we expressed our readiness to cooperate with Turkey on the most sensitive issues. And what was the result? Do they really think that we would shun away from there? Well, Russia is not a country like that. We increased our presence there. We amassed our combat aviation there. There were no air defense systems, actually, from Russia. But right now we have deployed S-400 systems there. We are putting in a combat position the air defense systems of Syria. We deployed Buk systems there. If Turkey was violating airspace of Syria on a regular basis, now I don't think they would be able to do that. But maybe they might try. Well, then you ask, maybe there is the third party involved in this. Well, I got it, what you are hinting at, but we are not aware of that. If someone in the Turkish government decided to kowtow to the Americans, I don't know whether they were right to do that. I don't know whether Americans might actually need that. One could imagine that at some level there were agreements reached that they were going to down the Russian aircraft and then they will turn a blind eye and Turkey would get into the territory of Iraq and occupy some parts of its territories. I don't know, maybe there was such a bargaining tool discussed. I don't know, but they put everyone in a very difficult situation. Well, right now I'm trying to analyze everything that has happened and that is happening. I believe right now that the ISIL is a secondary thing. These are my own assessments. Well, back then, Iraq was invaded and destroyed. For good or for worse, it doesn't matter. But the vacuum emerged. Then elements popped up that had to do with trading in oil. And that situation was actually developing for years. The whole business was established there. Smuggling, which is in huge scopes. And in order to protect these smuggling activities and illegal exports, one might need a military force. And it is very convenient to use the Islamic factor to bring gun fodder there under the Islamic slogans. But actually, those people are playing the game that has to do with protecting economic interests. So that's how actually ISIL emerged, as far as I think. Now, the supply routes have to be guaranteed. We started attacking oil convoys. And right now we see they're scared and they are moving in the night time using 10 or 15 trucks. Although the most of the supplies is now going on through Iraq and through the Iraqi Kurdistan. I'm asking the defense minister to demonstrate everything with the evidence, although 11,000 oil trucks were tracked at one location. That is just horrible. So whether there is a third party involved in this process, I don't know. It might be. They might have not coordinated it with anyone, but right now the Turkish authorities are speaking about the Islamization of the country. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I must admit that the Turkish current leadership decided to demonstrate to the Americans and to everyone that, yes, indeed, we are Islamizing the country, but we are civilized, modern Islamists. Well, once Reagan spoke about samosa, he's a thug, but he's ours. Please bear that in mind. He's an Islamist, but he's ours. Maybe there is something like that behind that, but definitely nothing good. have we gained from it? And if there were any goals on the Turkish side, they were not achieved. They deteriorated the situation even further. Now, about